Welcome to the Globe Digger Travel Podcast, Episode 1. In 2022, I quit my job, I traveled the world, found more purpose in my life. And this podcast is going to be about I'm going to be sharing my travels. As I traveled the world, experiences I had, getting off the beaten path, sharing my tips and tricks, what I learned. I'm going to share more about how I found more purpose in my life. But today, I'm going to share with you why I decided to do this and travel the world. So, first thing, the chain of events went like this. So in 2018, my mother, who I was very, very close with, my whole life, huge influence on me, she passed away. And on her deathbed, she said to me, Jeffrey, no one on their deathbed wishes if only I'd worked harder. So it was something that didn't really hit me right away. And I was the type of person that just worked all the time, very driven by money, advertising executive, going after bonuses, working probably 14, 15-hour days. And when she said that to me, it was something that I don't know, it never really left my mind, but I didn't really know how I was going to process it. So after, maybe 2 years, so in 2020, right at the start of the pandemic, I decided, you know what? Yeah, it's time. I'm going to go to Thailand. So I booked this trip to, Bangkok was the big thing. And the reason for that mainly was I was really influenced by the reason why I picked Bangkok was The Hangover 2. I'd done all these trips to Vegas in my life, probably 10, 12 times, some great times. I was also doing these resort trips where I'd take off for a week, 5-star resort, overeat, overpay, overdrink, all that stuff. So I wanted to kind of recreate the Hangover experience. I even booked a room in Labua. That's the hotel where the helicopter comes down and takes Chow away. They're sitting on the steps the next day. That's Sky Bar at Labua Hotel in Bangkok. So I booked this trip, and this whole trip was going to be about getting off the beaten path, kind of maybe 40, 50%, and then being a complete tourist. Or maybe it was a 30-70 split, whatever. For the first time, I wasn't just going to be sitting on a resort, all inclusive. I was going to get off the beaten path, staying in Airbnbs, staying in some seedy hotels, as well as some nice hotels. And I think this trip was, Bangkok, and I had the whole Hangover thing. It was great. Some great nights there. It was unbelievable. And Koh Chang. So I saw the islands, went to Phuket. I'm sure there was a couple other places in there, maybe Pattaya, I forget. But anyways, it was definitely a different experience, and this did change the way I wanted to travel. So I was like, yeah, this is much better, and I do want to do more of this. So it was that trip to Bangkok that really inspired me. So then in 2000, what year was that? It was right after, actually, when I was in Thailand, the pandemic was just kicking in. So we're only going back a few years, 4 years. When I really started traveling like this. So the pandemic hits, and then I was like working in my condo in Toronto at Yonge and Eglinton. It was kind of going stir crazy. And I was there at least 2020. This is now a year and a half. There I am working in this condo. And I was just like, all right, this is okay. This is my life, I guess. So this is, I was getting paid. So I was lucky enough to have a job. So that was good. And then my son, who was living with me at the time, was on the spectrum. He decided that he was going to move out. So he was moving back from Toronto to Kingston, and Kingston's actually where I'm originally from. So he moved out, and then I was like, okay, so now here I am. So it's just me, and he'd been with me in Toronto the whole time I was there. So I moved from Kingston to Toronto. We were there like maybe 8 years. And so that was something. I was like, okay, things are changing here. Like I had a lot of change during a short period of time. And this is all from the pandemic hitting. My son moves out, very short period of time, still during the pandemic. Then we went through this purpose exercise at work. So basically what we had to do is, it was an executive exercise where we had to come back and just provide what our purpose is professionally, personally. It could be anything. So I had a week to ponder this, to think about this. And so we come back in. Now this is virtual, so it was like on a Teams call or Zoom call. And we went around the group. Everybody come in, they had something fancy to say. Yeah, this is my purpose. This is whatever. I want to spend more time with my kids. I'm gonna do what, just this kind of stuff. So when it came to me, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take a pass. I was like, I don't know what my purpose is. I've known my purpose at different times in my life, but at this time in my life, here I am, single guy, living in Toronto, young in Eglinton, have this great job, working for the government, making great money, but I just had nothing else. It was just me in this condo. So I was really like, okay, all right, so now what am I gonna do? I gotta figure this out. So next, I knew I had a big bonus coming actually that year. I had a great year sales wise. I worked hard. I knew it. So this is around November of that year. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna ride this out. So I was like, okay, and I'll figure this out. I don't know what I'm gonna do at this point, but I'm starting to think. I'm starting to be like, okay, I gotta find more purpose in my life. I've got time. I've got some money. What am I gonna do? So what I did first, I read 2 books. One was The Dip by Seth Godin, which is about knowing when to quit. Knowing when to quit in life, knowing when to quit your job, maybe go on to something new, knowing just, yeah, when's it time to maybe you're trying to play in the NHL. Okay, just knowing the right time when to quit. And really, it's all about, they say that winners never quit and quitters never win, but it's the opposite. Quitters win all the time and winners quit all the time. So it's a short book, but it really was a great, in terms of really helping me in my process at that time in my life, because I was thinking about quitting my job and doing something different. The other one was Travel the World on $50 a Day by Nomadic Matt. So Matt Kepnes, I think his name is. So, my process here is that it's, I'm thinking of traveling, obviously. And I'm like, okay, how do I do this in terms of budget traveling? I knew I didn't want to it's just not feasible anyways. To go for 12 months to stay in 5-star resorts just isn't something that's going to happen. So I knew I wanted to learn. So this book is all about backpacking, doing it on a budget, getting off the beaten path. When you do anything on a budget like that, you're getting off the beaten path by default. So I read this book so I could really learn how to, okay, this is going to be a deep travel experience. If you remember, I'm all about my purpose at this point. So it's like, okay, I want to find purpose. I got to find purpose on this journey. So this book became really my Bible in terms of, okay, this is what is teaching me, and this is how I'm going to learn how to properly how to travel in this way. So here I am at 49 years old, and I'm going out and I'm buying a backpack. I'm doing this research in terms of how I'm going to do this. I'm going to be staying in hostels. I'm going to be eating with locals. I'm going to be getting off the beaten path. I'm not going to be staying in tourist areas. So I really wanted to find those connections. So it was at this point that, yeah, I made the decision. I was going to quit my job and travel the world and find more purpose in my life and reset. I was just gonna, and I really, other than I'd sketched out some things, but for the most part, I didn't have a plan. I knew I was going to Nicaragua, and of course, where I was gonna go down through Central America, South America, probably end up in Europe at some point, Southeast Asia. Always wanted to ride a camel, maybe Egypt. I had some other plans too. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I'll end up in Australia. I didn't really know, but I just knew that I was going to go on a life-changing journey, and that's what I did. And yeah, this is everything that led to me doing this and why I decided to travel the world. And thanks for listening.